Hey there, everyone. So today I'm painting a little tiny piece, and I'm going to talk about inspiration and finding inspiration. I've been feeling fairly creatively drained for a while. Everything I draw just isn't sitting right with me. I've been doing a lot of portrait studies, hand studies, drawing random birds, but like when I start sketching, I just can't make it into anything. It's just a face, and maybe I'll add like something random to it, but I can't come up with anything to add, like I usually would, because it's really hard to pull inspiration from your own head, especially when your brain is full of other things, other worries, and just emotions. Sometimes it's hard to process those in a productive way into art. But also, when you're painting to try and convey a singular message, that can take away from the audience's interpretation, because that's a big part of art, is how your audience interprets your art, right? Because everyone will interpret it differently. Art speaks to people on so many different levels, and so when you paint something with a specific message that you want to get across in mind, it won't speak to as many people, and it will also not have that depth that people can come back and look at the art from a different angle, and you can come back and look at your own art from a different angle. You don't really get that. So I think it's really cool to see how people interpret art, and I would love to hear how you interpret this piece. Obviously this isn't one of my deeper pieces, but I still think it has some intense emotions in it. And so I was feeling quite creatively drained, and then I was like, well, I love listening to stories. Where can I find a story? On YouTube. So I just, have somebody read me a story. So I just typed in folklore into the search bar, and I found a video on Slavic folklore by Foundry, I think was the name of the channel. I'll link it below. And I immediately was so inspired watching that video and just listening, because there's so many stories, and those stories of course are long lasting because they speak to you on a human level, right? And that's what we want to do with our art. We want to speak to people on a human level. And I basically, once I finished the video, I started sketching this piece, and there's still a few more paintings that I want to do just from that one 15-minute, 10-minute video. And it's crazy. It was like my inspiration was just there again. And I mean, obviously it's not completely there, because when I was sketching by myself, I still have to I have to think of a source of inspiration, It's not just oh, this makes sense with the sketch, but I wanted to paint this, which is huge. I haven't really been feeling that lately. And also, I'm not a huge poetry person, or I haven't been in the past, but my sister got a poetry book. I started reading the poetry book, and I read one poem, and immediately I was like, oh, I need to go paint this. And I did. Well, I didn't paint it, I drew it. It's a piece on my Instagram with the rock spine piece. I don't know. You probably won't see it if you're watching this later, but I just was immediately inspired, and it was insane how quickly that happened. So I think that's a really important part of being an artist, is not being too hard on yourself when you can't find that inspiration by yourself, because other people are you know, that human connection is there, and you can find it in other people's work. And, you know, what we do is, or what a lot of us do as artists, is essentially steal from sources of inspiration and mash them all together and create something entirely new. And that's a really cool process to me. So if you're feeling stuck, I would definitely recommend that Tail Foundry video, or even just going through artists that you love and going through their feed and their portfolios and their work, and just notice what you love about it and see if it sparks anything in you. In terms of the piece itself, this is a leshy. I'm for sure pronouncing that wrong, but that is how I'm going to pronounce it. It's basically this forest spirit that, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, often has the appearance of a man, but his eyebrows, eyelashes, and right ear are missing. His head is somewhat pointed, and he lacks a hat and belts. In his native forest, the leshy is as tall as trees, but the moment he steps beyond, he shrinks to the size of grass. He has a hair and a beard made from living grass and vines, and is sometimes depicted with a tail, goat's hooves, and horns like Pan. He has pale white skin that contrasts with his bright green eyes. So obviously, I didn't exactly, you know, create like fan art or anything, but I was still inspired. Like, I got the bright green eyes, the blue skin, and the tree man. I didn't exactly do it, but this is what I felt like painting, and I'm really happy with this piece. I'm really happy with it. I did struggle with negative painting, and also that like path at the bottom was originally going to be treetops, but I turned it into a path because I didn't like the treetops. So compositionally could have been better, but I love this piece. All right, I will see you next week. Bye.